So I am the research vice president at PolicyLink. I've been there for 15 years. And the work I'm going to talk about is the collective work of at least 15 different people, maybe more like 20 or 25. So I'm just the tip of the spear today, so to speak, for researchers and writers and advocates and communications people and editors and all kinds of folks who collectively make up our work. While I was staying in Oakland and being a political activist and being this kind of researcher, I met for the first time Angela Blackwell. She was at the time running an organization called the Urban Strategies Council. She later went on to be vice president of Rockefeller Foundation. When she came back to Oakland in 2000 or 1999, she was building the staff for what would become PolicyLink, community builders, a way of training local leaders on how to have the tools and resources to make an impact at City Hall or the State House or the federal government. And in that period of 1999-2000, there was this merging in a lot of places of community organizers, people who were organizing residents to gain power, community developers like LISC and all Enterprise and NeighborWorks and all of their affiliates who were building affordable housing and building commercial space. And social service providers in low-income communities. But a unified approach to what it takes to have a healthy, thriving community was relatively uncommon until then. And a lot of them started to work together. We started working with them. And it was determined that they needed a policy. They couldn't just do what they were doing. They would need to raise money for it in the public sector. They would need to get rules changed. They would need to win support in legislatures. They would need to make serious systems change. And so we began working in that arena, and Angela, who I'd met a long time before, pulled me out of, or rather the job I had was coming to an end and invited me into PolicyLink. So this long ago connection with kids, both at the abstract level or the level of economics and finance and at the level of mentoring, had always been with me no matter what I was doing. That we get to PolicyLink and we said, well, what are we going to work on? We're going to work on housing and transportation. But after a few years, we're back in education. We're back on the juvenile justice system. We're back on a sort of comprehensive approach to the issues facing boys and men of color. Whether it's school discipline policies or ban-the-box strategies or any number of things. So PolicyLink's more defined by a focus on equity, just and fair inclusion, creating an opportunity for everybody to thrive and prosper than it is on a particular policy issue. And so as a research vice president, I have a hand in a little of everything.
You're saying it is that, I think in Indianapolis, the challenge we have is that decisions are made by a small group of folks, and not be disparaging to any other organizations, but there's some organizations that will be invited to the table because they represent African Americans. But at the end of the day, they can't speak because their funders are in the room.
Right, right.
Right? So there's only so many things they can say, and so that's the challenge that I've seen that we've had for years in this city, is that
too many of these conversations take place with just a small group of folks. And then we get the data, the community gets the data after those same handful of people have decided what this data means, what direction should it go in, and that's fundamentally the piece that has to change. And how do we change it? Well, all of us have a responsibility to it ourselves. We just all need to have more courage. You go in a room and you see nothing but the same folks there last time. They all look just like you, or they all look just like one particular population that leaves all the others out. Then you got a responsibility to raise the question. Why is it that the only people in this room are not even the people who we're trying to address and serve? And what are we going to do about it? Good people. We are committing criminal acts against communities. When we say we need more data, the first act is how do we engage more people, have authentic and real communications.
Do we actually know that the people who are being served in different communities with the particular program, that they want to go into particular kinds of jobs? Earlier we talked about taking the job to scale, a program to scale. But suppose people don't want to go in that direction. I don't want a manufacturing job, I want to start my own business. I don't want to work for someone else. But did anybody ask me that? No. And so going back to your point and your point, I mean, the decision-making process frequently is one of, here's what the data is telling us about what that exists, and then the systematic approach is one of not coming back and saying, what did this mean to you?
And locally in Indianapolis, one of the challenges we face is the idea of investing in property versus people. And how do you shift the paradigm from one of property or policy, not necessarily policy, but property, and to one of people, one that puts people at the center, developing people as a center of what we're trying to impact, what we value as a society, as a city.
We have to invest in our people. Our people are the most important thing about a place. Then it will be on all of us to make that real.